Hey everybody, it's Leslie. Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to my new quarantine hair. I hope this video finds everybody well and staying sane. I have been keeping in touch with a lot of folks, not surprisingly, doing Zoom video calls and FaceTime and texting. And one of the people I've been keeping in touch with is my stepmother, who is over in Germany right now. And she's originally from Germany, and she pops over there a couple of times a year for a few weeks to visit with family and friends. Not surprisingly, she is now stuck over there. She was supposed to come back, I think, right about this time or maybe next week, but she ain't going anywhere anytime soon. And we chat sometimes using the WhatsApp app, and she sent me a photo of the hotel across the street from her apartment over there. And like me, she's a widow, and so she is alone in her apartment, but she's used to that and says she doesn't mind. But the picture was the hotel across the street, which has been thoroughly demolished. And I was really sad to see that because my husband and I had stayed there shortly after getting married when we visited my parents in Germany on our honeymoon. And it was a very Spartan, very utilitarian, very European hotel, which means teeny tiny rooms. But it holds really fond memories for me. And it has a place in my heart. So to see a photo of it, which I'll try to include here with the video, to see a photo of it razed to the ground, utterly turned to rubble, was, of course, made me sad. And this morning, as I was taking my dog Gracie for a walk, and she is right there, the verse from Revelation, what is it, 21:5 came to mind, which is when the Lord says, "Behold, I make all things new." Behold, I make all things new. When we are creating something new, very often we have to completely tear down the old. We have to raze it to the ground. And that destruction can look devastating because it's devastation. When you have to destroy something, when you have to turn it to rubble, when you have to raze a building to the ground so that you can build something new, it can sound loud and scary. It can take a while. It can leave a huge mess. And yet, when that mess is cleared away and there's room for new building, new growth, new construction, whatever is coming in its place, that's where something exciting is happening. Several years ago, my husband and I were, and I've mentioned this before, we were in a really, really bad place in our marriage. This was probably from about 2010 to 2014, maybe 2015. We loved each other dearly. We really loved each other, but we did not know how to get along, how to function, how to get past a lot of the historic hurts that we each brought into the relationship from our own family dynamics and from our personal histories. And consequently, we were sniping at each other's throats, causing each other harm, causing each other damage, all the while still really loving each other and trying to make it work. But it was not built on a firm foundation. And in 2014, in the midst of all that chaos and all of that hurt, my husband gave me a beautiful gift. He put together as a surprise, and it's a long story, but he ended up getting a hold of video footage from our wedding. We did not have a videographer, and he ran into somebody through God's grace who had video footage of our wedding. And he made me a surprise video for our 10th anniversary, and then threw a surprise party and invited dozens, I think it was something like 60 or 80 people to the surprise party. And one of our friends was a justice of the peace, and she asked if we wanted to renew our vows, which we did. And I'll try to include a photo of that in the comments. All of that, all of that to say, I believe that Jesus is asking us to renew our vows. I believe that we have to, and he is calling us to let go of our history, of the paradigms, the dynamics, the old institutions, the old structures, the familiar foundation with which we came into our marriage of the new covenant, with which we entered into our relationship with Jesus as the bride of Christ. And he is saying, this isn't working. The way that you are doing this marriage is not working. I'm going to tear it all down because I love you and I want to renew our vows and I want to have a deeper, more intimate relationship, and I want to take away all distractions and I want to take away all preconceptions, and I want you to know me and then to know the Father. And that is what this great shaking affords us the opportunity to do. Just like Craig surprised me with something that seemed unsettling at the time. We were coming out of years of strife, and even a surprise party can be shocking and unsettling because you're caught off guard. And you see in the picture, I look all sweaty and a half mess, and there's 80 of our friends who are all gathered together. But it truly was the beginning of a new season, a brand new start in our marriage. And we built and built and built on that new foundation after everything else had been razed to the ground through counseling and through individual counseling and through the work that God was doing in each of us. And it was hard work. There was a lot of destruction of paradigms and history and woundedness and expectation that we had each brought into the marriage that had to be repaired. And just like that hotel had to be completely leveled and completely razed to the ground, we had to do that in our own hearts to start new. And in Romans 12:2, we're told, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And we know that the will of God is for us to know him, to have a deep, intimate relationship with him. And so Jesus, in his mercy, in his grace, has taken away the trappings of this world, the entertainment, the sports, the institutional church, even business. And yes, is it utterly disruptive? Is it scary? Is it loud? Is it destructive? Does it look like devastation? Absolutely. And he says, behold, I make all things new. And the word says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. He wants to renew our minds. He wants us to have clean hearts and a right spirit, and to renew our vows, renew our wedding vows to our Maker and our husband, Jesus of Nazareth, the living Christ, the one who died to set us free. And we've taken that for granted for a long time. He wants a true relationship with his bride. And I encourage you to truly just be quiet and rest and spend time listening to the one who gave you life, listening to the one who came to rescue you, to redeem you, to set you free. Spend time in his presence and give him thanks. Give him thanks and praise. Thank him for being so good and so merciful as to allow us this opportunity to renew our vows as he makes all things new. God bless you today.